Sup, bitch. I made the final Celestials villain. I mean, so far, but still. So this over here is Feratu. He's a darkness. He's like a dark type character, obviously. By the way, this video is pre-recorded, and I actually made him look a bit too bulky on accident, but that doesn't really matter. He's supposed to not look this muscular, but it just kind of happened. So let's just roll with it. So Feratu over here is the final, like so far, with what I came up with, but he will probably still be the final villain, but maybe other villains will come in between as well. He's supposed to be the final villain of Celestials, which you can tell by his epic look. And so, basically, his attacks, he uses a combination of this hammer with a spearhead on it that he can swing around really fast, so he can also use it as a spear. He also uses the hammer in combination with a chain, so he can swing it around very far. He can also use a sword just as good as Inferno can, and if you remember, Inferno is like the best swordsman basically like in the country or whatever, or like maybe even in the whole world. He can also teleport around very fast, so in battle he would just be able to just teleport very fast. And he also makes basically creatures out of black magic. He can basically make like shadow monsters to like fight for him. So pretty interesting. For his backstory, he's basically an evil version of Inferno that is created through like a satanic book with black magic, kind of on accident. But he's created in like a last attempt effort to kind of, how do you say it, make sure the book doesn't get caught or whatever. And Inferno happens to be in the room, and then like the book takes his all his like characteristics and basically makes a copy, like a dark magic copy of Inferno, but without the soul. And we get Feratu over here. And he's basically supposed to be like the bottom of the barrel, like worst of the worst out of all the villains. Like this guy is just completely like how to say it, diabolical. Like anything like Homelander level of like freakiness and like weird like vile things he would pull off. Like kind of think as like a Homelander from The Boys, but like with a mix of like Art the Clown and with a mix of like the ideals and values of Satan himself. So you can tell he's supposed to be like the worst villain out of all of them, obviously. I mean, just look at his crooked smile. He looks like he's up to no good. Up to no good, I meant. And you can see for his character design, he's supposed to kind of look similar to Inferno, but he also has some unique traits as well. So if you look over here, he has the same like armor, but now in like dark purple, with like the same flames on the feet, the knees, and the elbows for turbo boostings, basically to make him go really fast with his arms, for example. Then here he has like a golden skull with like the little thing to cover his crotch, with like a golden accent. I actually forgot to color the back part, and he has a piece of this on the back as well to cover his butt. I also just touched the screen accent. Let me clean it off real quick. My bad. There we go. I think it should be better. Okay, let's continue. So you can see he is rocking some solid gold abs as well, with like a little furnace hole that can open up. But he actually can't let the soul out because he doesn't have one. So this would probably just like spit fire, or maybe some of his dark magic like would come out of the furnace when he's like summoning like a creature or something. Then he has this cool lightning pattern in like blue silver, in like kind of a platinum color across his chest. He has a big rusty scar on here as well. I forgot to add in a chain on Inferno's design, but that's supposed to be there. And his chain would have a sword. Well, this guy has like a silver chain with like the satanic like star. I forgot what it's called. But you can see it's like glowing red kind of. So it's engraved in there, pretty cool. Then he has some much bulkier shoulders with golden spikes on them. He has like a snake arm bracelet here. Then he has his shoulder pads with the... Oh, damn it, I touched my screen again. I'm gonna forget cleaning my screen afterwards, so I'm gonna do it now. My bad, wait. Yep, there we go, should be good. So wait, I need to watch out for the screen. So then here again he has like the flames coming out, and this time they're purple because he's supposed to look evil and like dark magic in like his color palette. He has a similar looking wrists and hand. Here again the same hand as Inferno, and then he has chains wrapped around his big hammer. That wait, I needed to burp. That go around his arm, and basically he has like a little portal on his back where the chains magically come out of, so he can like make the hammer go back into the get sucked back up into the portal. So pretty cool, and that's where the chains are like attached to. Then he has his big spiked hammer with a spearhead on it, and because he has no trouble moving around his heavy hammer fast, he can actually use this as a spear as well. So it's a very deadly combo when you imagine this guy can like use this to smash your skull in, but at the same time he can also like pierce your ribs open with a spear from afar. So pretty hardcore. Then also he has his face, which resembles a bit more of a skull in features. He has like these red, glowing, fiery, satanic eyes. He has some pretty sharp canines, similar features to Inferno, the same eye scar and mouth scar. He has a beard and a mustache and short hair as well. And then you can see it on screen, but he would have the same rocket boots as Inferno. So pretty badass if you ask me. And I'm thinking right now if I have anything else to talk about. So let's maybe what should I begin with now? You know what, let's first talk about more of his attacks and also a bit of his backstory. So like I said, he can summon creatures, so basically he would be able to summon like shadow creatures out of nowhere, kind of like lions, maybe even like dinosaurs, and like just a bunch of like creepy looking cryptid monsters to hunt people down, and they would kind of look like shadows, but then they would kind of have like these purple glowing tendril accents in them, kind of like Count Lassilor's suit in the previous video. And you could basically kill these creatures by just doing a lot of damage to them, and since they don't have a soul, they would kind of like abruptly like explode into like shadowy mist. Then his hammer with the spear I already mentioned would be a very deadly combo, but he can also pull out like a crooked, like a more evil looking version of Inferno's sword as well, which can also come out of the same portal on his back. And then, like I said, Inferno is supposed to be like the best swordsman out there, and this guy is an evil version of Inferno. So this guy would have the same qualities as him in swords fighting, so also pretty deadly. He also has his fire attacks, obviously. So you have to imagine as well, he can shoot fireballs that explode, he can spit fire on you. His sword is on fire as well, so pretty deadly too. And then his main attribute that would help him, like I mentioned, is the teleporting. You can imagine this guy can also fly around with rocket boots. So you could imagine if he's fighting against Inferno, he would just start like teleporting, and like hit here, hit there. So pretty interesting. And I'm kind of repeating myself, but I just wanted to put the emphasis on how like dangerous this guy is. And so if you imagined in episodes where he would actually where Celestials would take place in like actual episodes, there you can imagine this guy is not only would be a lot more threatening, he would come on screen a lot more gradually rather than me explaining him right now. And you could imagine he would just start fucking people up with his attacks. Because I want to remind you, this is basically a quick teleporting, rocket flying, very durable, very fast son of a bitch with a giant hammer with a spearhead on it. The best swordsman skills in the whole country, basically. He can summon creatures out of nowhere to attack you, and he spits fire. So I just want to put the emphasis on how dangerous this guy is. Also, real quick, go to the link in the description to support me on Patreon. And it's literally made out of metal, so you're gonna have a hard time killing him as well. And then maybe a bit for his backstory. So, I actually made two previous videos about him where he wasn't really the main focus, but I still said a bit of his backstory, but we'll just repeat it really quick. So if you remember, basically, after a while, there would be this rumor where in like the final season, the villain force would try to like find the Book of Satan, basically. And the villains hide underground in like New York in like the sewers, kind of like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And in Celestials, America is like the most depressing part of the world because there would basically be this epidemic, kind of like in Wall-E. We remember all the fat people on the chairs that just consumed content all day and didn't really do anything else. Well, that epidemic would basically happen to America, but then Inferno. It would spread around the whole world, and Inferno is also kind of like a bit of an influencer in the story at some point. And he would basically get like a big part of the world out of this whole rut where like everyone's like fat and like depressed and stuff. But America would kind of stay like this, and cities in America would kind of like become known as like the depressing concrete jungles of like the world. Basically, think about it like this: if African tribe members were to go to New York, that's basically what Celestials New York would look like in the other people's eyes. So New York would be like the super depressing place. It would be just like this concrete jungle where all the poor stupid people live. No, I'm not apologizing to the Americans watching this video. So basically the villains would hide in the sewers there because it's an easy place to stay, since the people there don't have nearly as much heroes and are much like worse off. So they wouldn't really be found very fast, and the sewers would be an ideal place to stay there, even though it would be very shit for them as well. But this would be like their best option, because you have to remember these guys have to like hide everywhere and live underground. And basically, there's this evil wizard that also has like black magic powers. That's like on the top of the lead. He's like the main villain actually at this time. He kind of looks like Vecna, by the way. Vecna from not Stranger Things, from Dungeons and Dragons. You remember he's in Dead by Daylight. He would kind of look like that. And so basically there would be this plot to find the Book of Satan, because there's also like the Book of Heaven, which would be the Bible. And so you can also see the parallel. And basically the heroes have like the ultimate version of the Bible installed in like their hero headquarters. And this is actually how they get to some of their knowledge, and how they get the hero crystals through like trials and tribulations. So basically they get the help of God a bit. But then you have to remember, in real life as well, God isn't gonna want to spill all of the secrets of everything, but for good reasons. But why would Satan want to do that? And Satan is like canonically existing, and like God as well, and Christianity is all real in this universe, like confirmed and whatever the hell. And so basically, Satan is the ultimate evil, so he's not gonna have any trouble. He doesn't have anything to lose as well. So why wouldn't he want to make a book that spills all the secrets of the world for the best, or for the good, or for the worst? And a satanic book also exists like this in real life, and I thought this would be a cool idea. And the book would probably have like leather human skin on it or something, with like a face, kind of like the Necronomicon from Evil Dead. And the villains would try to find this book, and like this Vecna evil wizard guy would lead the whole operation. And the heroes would hear of this rumor and like infiltrate them, their base. They would basically try to find them. They would find the sewers in New York. And then they would go underground, and they would bring their best hero with them, which isn't actually Inferno. It's another guy. It's like this angelic light type character. Because you have to remember, like, light magic is kind of like the magic of God, and like that works the best against satanic forces. So they would bring the best like light hero with them to basically kill the evil like dark magic wizard, whatever. It's kind of hard to explain because you haven't seen those characters yet in previous videos, but you just have to use your imagination. And so basically they would find the sewers, and the sewers have like separate rooms and like hallways. They would you have to remember, this is the final season of Celestials. I'm explaining it right now, but there would be this whole build up, and like the fights in the sewers would be pretty cool and stuff. And so basically, all of the villains would basically be there. All of the heroes would also be there. So it would be like this last epic fight, kind of. All of the heroes versus all of the villains, and then they would also at some point burst out of the sewers and like start fighting each other throughout all the like the skyscrapers and like the buildings in New York. So a lot of glass would be breaking, a lot of buildings would go down as well. A lot of people would die there too. Because they would just be standing in the way, and would be hard to protect all of them on their mission, and these people would be of a lot less value compared to the normal people. So yeah, like I said, a lot of them would die basically, like the fat stupid people in New York. I'm thinking at some point the evil wizard would get trapped in the room with the light hero, and he would kill him, but he would actually have already found the book by now. So he would have the satanic book, and he would be like using its spells, because there's like secret things in here that Satan is like trying to that like wrote down in there and stuff, blah blah blah. And he uses the new spells to like fight against the light hero, but he still kills him in the end. And you have to remember the other heroes are there as well. So at a certain point, he would start squaring up against evil wizard after they've like killed a bunch of villains. So now this one villain wizard is like getting ganged up by Inferno and like the light hero. But I think something would happen amongst the sense of like the light hero kills him, but then for some reason he like maybe gets pushed into another room with like a spell or something. And then eventually it would just be like Inferno and maybe like one other friend against this evil wizard, and he's already dying at this point. He's like on the ground. But Inferno would maybe kill him or something, and like in a last ditch effort, the book has like a mind of its own. So the satanic book would start flying in the air whilst the wizard is like dying on the ground, and Inferno would get hit with this shockwave, while his other friend like maybe gets sent out of the room as well. So Inferno would get hit against the wall with a shockwave. He would go unconscious on the ground, and the book would basically use its spells to make an evil, like dark magic version of Inferno, which would spawn in the room there, and the wizard would die. But Inferno is unconscious, so he doesn't see the other villain. And that's this guy basically, and he doesn't really have a soul, like I said, because he's just made of dark magic. So a pretty interesting plotline. So the satanic book uses dark magic to basically create an evil version of Inferno as a last ditch effort to kind of save the villains. And funny thing is, he actually wouldn't kill Inferno. Maybe he would, because he's like very psychopathic, maybe he would purposely keep him alive to torture him or whatever. And so at this point, the wizard is dead, and the other heroes catch the satanic book, and this guy like hides away. No one actually knows that this guy exists yet, because Inferno is unconscious, and he like hides away, and then the others come grab the book. So mission success basically in everyone's eyes. Mission completed, everyone goes home and stuff, and they made a lot of progress. They have the satanic book now, and maybe they like keep it in a vault or something, or burn it. But what they don't know is that now this guy is walking around freely, and Inferno actually has like a slight idea of this, because he opened, maybe Inferno like opened his eyes for a second at some point, and he has like maybe visions of this guy. And so now everyone's like back at home celebrating and stuff, while this guy is out here, Ferratu, and he's like now searching for new villains, because not all of them have died, but he needs even more villains. So now he's searching for new villains, and this guy basically becomes the new leader of the villain force. And to keep it simple, what would happen is this guy has a plan, because you have to remember this guy comes from the satanic book. So he basically has all of the info in his head. He is basically the living version of the satanic book. So he knows all the secrets of the world, pretty much. He has and because he comes from Inferno, he has the same skills, like I said, and he has like all his powers or whatever. But he uses the hammer for a bit of a change, and then I need to think for a second, because my brain is getting a bit fried. So give me a moment. Wait, what else was gonna happen? Oh yeah, so at some point there would be this build-up where basically the reveal starts to come nearby, Inferno starts to realize that mission not success yet, and he starts to realize that there's like some evil villain out there. But this guy would be clothed, would hide himself in like the special robe where he has like purple glowing eyes and stuff, and he's a bit more stealthy, which you actually saw in a previous video. And then basically this guy would start haunting Inferno and like the heroes, and there would be a lot of gradual build up. And at some point, they would also return to New York or something to maybe like try to find him. And I'm not sure if they would find in New York again, but basically a lot of build-up would go by, and Inferno would start getting more and more haunted by this guy. He would start getting visions of him, and like this would be really scary because I mean, look at the guy. And then at some point he would start getting jumped by him, but at this point he's still in the rope. So Inferno doesn't know that this is like an evil version of yet. He just thinks it's another evil wizard with like purple glowing eyes and a cloak. And he would start getting jumped by him at random, like at surprise moments when he's like out and about, when they're like on missions and stuff. And this is where things would start taking a very aggressive toll, basically. And I feel like at some point Inferno would start like fully fighting this guy, and then his identity still wouldn't be revealed for a bit. And then some more time would go by. Maybe they would return to New York to go looking for him. And then the identity reveal would happen. His cloak would he would at some point take his cloak off willingly, and then he would reveal himself to Inferno, and there would also be like a bunch of dialogue, whatever. And now he would like fully start using all his fire powers, and he would go full force. Basically, it no longer would be just jumping. So now they would be actually like fighting to the death almost. So you can imagine if they're back in New York or something, just the amount of buildings that would get destroyed, like it would be crazy. And then it would be this rendezvous where it's all repeating all over again with all the villains and all the heroes fighting against each other again, kind of. And I feel like he would trap Inferno, because you have to remember this guy is basically Inferno but a bit stronger with black magic. So they can't really kill each other because their biggest weakness is soul magic and water. And neither of those things come into play here. So this guy would actually overpower Inferno for a bit. He would maybe take him captured and explain his whole plan to him just for the fun of it, because this guy is like... he kind of just likes the whole process of like you get the point. So he'd explain his plan to Inferno while Inferno is like trapped in a cage or something in that sense. And so basically there is a magic staff, like I mentioned in older videos. There's a magic staff at the center of Earth that when you acquire it with the necessary power-ups, you basically can rule over the planet and over the universe. And this guy plans on taking... he knows all of this because of the Satanic Book. These were secrets written in the book that isn't in like the Bible for the sake of like keeping important information hidden away. But Satan, of course, would want to reveal this information so a villain could get a hold of the staff, for example, right? Stay with me now. So there are elemental cores in all of the alien planets around Earth with like all the elements. And there are basically like these ancient titans that protect them. And then in the middle of Earth, because Earth is like the main planet with in the solar system, with like all of the elements combined in one planet. And then in Earth, in the core, is like a big black... that sounded wrong. A big dark like arena with the staff in the middle. So this guy basically plans on taking all of the cores out of all of the other elemental planets, and he needs these to basically power up the staff. Once he has all the 10 cores from all the 10 elements, and he's beaten like all the titans or something, he can put them into the staff in the arena, and he can basically gain the power of a god. And well, this guy's just a full-on psychopath. So what would he want to do? He would want to enslave everyone. A pretty simple premise, like take over the world. Now, it sounds wishy-washy now until you realize that in the practical sense, this would actually be a pretty good plan. Because he's not gonna, explode the planet or something. He's just gonna enslave everyone, make them do slavery just for the fun of it, and just do a bunch of really vile things, when you think about it that way. And he would maybe kill all the heroes off and make them work for him or something. And this guy would basically live like a king and start newer generations of other psychopaths and with his children and stuff. So pretty messed up. And then I'm thinking, so he, like I said, Inferno is trapped at this point, and then he releases him so he can basically make a plan against him just for the fun of it. And this is where things start to really escalate, obviously. So now he's kind of using this whole plan that he explained to Inferno to make him worried as a bit of a distraction, so he can go wreak some havoc on Earth right now rather than getting the crystal, all the like the elemental cores. Whilst Inferno is planning to like stop this. And I'm thinking he would make this plan where he would kind of go at war to neighboring countries around Belgium, and he would basically start surrounding Belgium into a circle where he would take over all the other countries. And this guy would raise up like an army of villains and stuff. And you have to remember this is like an absolute vile psychopath. So, kind of think of like Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen. He would kind of like stand on a hill and start like menacingly laughing and stuff. He would make this whole plan where he just start enslaving people. And so by now he's like taking over other countries like really fast, but not like the whole country, just areas. And he would make a circle around Belgium basically. And he would do a lot of messed up things there. He would pillage all the towns. He would murder the he would murder the men, enslave the children, rape the women, so to make children as well. And then he would basically abuse everyone for their money. He would make them do slavery work, even though it's not that efficient. He just likes seeing them in pain. He would torture people just for the fun of it. And he would set up all these like special spots in the countries where this would happen. And he would even have like bunkers with people like chained up and stuff. And he would even cannibalize them. So you just have to remember, like, this is like bottom of the barrel stuff. So like nothing is out of place for this guy. No mercy, no nothing. He's taking your booty and he's taking your ass and he's eating it up in a big stewing pot because he likes human meat, for example. So he would also be very menacing in the show. Oh wait, I just got a notification that my file size, it started a new video, whatever. And so he would basically go on a race against Inferno to get all the cores before one of them gets all of them. And he would get most of the cores, and Inferno would get some of them as well, which means he can't use the staff fully yet. And they would go around the planets, basically, getting into these cores, beating the Titans and whatever to get the cores. And the planets would kind of die off, killing a bunch of the people there as well. And then this would kind of create a lot of rampage in the universe. And then eventually they would return to Earth, but now you have to remember we're a few episodes down. They've gone to like all the interesting biomes and the elemental planets. They've beaten all the cool like Titans, and I feel like this guy would set Inferno up to beat one of the Titans, and then he would fly in, take the core for himself, and just fly out. And eventually they would meet at the center of Earth. But the thing is, it's like in the center of Earth, there would be like this big, the arena would be covered in a big dome, and the dome would be made out of this like nearly indestructible like black crystal material. And no one of the heroes would be able to get in except for Feratu and Inferno, because they're kind of like the chosen ones. And they would be able to magically just pass through the barrier, while the other heroes have to sit there and basically stare at it. And this would create a pretty interesting last final like battle after many battles already. So now they're trying to get to the center of Earth. Inferno and Feratu both get to pass through the dome and end up in the arena. So this is like this big like dark black crystal like arena made of the same like almost indestructible material, so they can go full force. And it's like it has like little huts with like golden accents. It has like floating magic stairs with all of like golden accents, all of them. It has like tiny structures and like big buildings and stairs and stuff, so you have things to throw with and to hide in to basically make it interesting. And so at this point, Inferno would also end up in there, but he doesn't know the full extent of the plan yet. And then he sort of like starts to find all these decorations on the walls with like engravings. in his own like ancient language, and he would be able to read them, and he would basically start to realize the whole plan and like the seriousness of the situation that this guy could generally take over the universe and stuff if he gets a hold of the staff with all the cores. And Inferno basically sees like a text that shows him like being the chosen one against like his evil version or whatever. And this is kind of like a bit of a plan set up by God as well. So it's kind of like trust the process. So now at this point, they're both in the arena, and we can actually see they brought the same light hero with them with them as well for the mission to try and kill this guy, but they didn't realize they couldn't get through the barrier. So now the light hero is stuck on the outside of the other heroes, and he's like punching on the wall trying to break it and like screaming at Inferno because he knows he saw Feratu get in there as well, but Inferno doesn't know that. So now he's like screaming at Inferno to like get out of there or something, and it's getting like really intense. And so this is where the final battle goes down. So they both don't know yet that they're all, both in the arena. Feratu and Inferno are both unaware of this, and they start exploring the arena and walking around. And this is like a really big area of a lot of like structures and like little things to hide behind. And this is when it goes down. Eventually, they literally see each other, and they realize what's going on. And like I said, Inferno has some of the cores, he has most of the cores. And this is where they start their final battle. This is like the last stance kind of for the universe. And this is when they pull out all the tricks. They start like going full force because this is like an indestructible arena kind of. Like you could still like break things, but like it's not gonna hurt anything outside of the arena. So now they can just go full force, no holding back. So they both start pulling out all their tricks. Inferno actually has some power of the other elements as well because he's learned it through magic over the years because he's so old. So now Inferno would not only use his usual sword skills and fire powers, he would also use like nature powers to pull out tendrils to like plant tendrils to pull him everywhere or something. He would probably also use ice powers to like create stairs and stuff and like shoot ice at him because that would hurt him actually. He would probably also start using light powers a little bit because his soul is very pure. Inferno would be able to channel light beams a little bit throughout his hands, which would actually hurt him a lot as well. But this would only come up in the end because that's like his hardest attack to do. So you can imagine Inferno like using the other elements a bit as well. This guy starts using a lot of variations of his black magic as well. And now at this point they're like aggressively going on against each other. They're both super fast and dangerous and have a lot of tricks up their sleeve. So they're literally like throwing pieces of like wall and structure against each other. They're like hiding behind things, like destroying entire parts of the like arena. They're going super fast, like one-to-one combat, fighting against each other. Maybe this guy at some point pulls out a sword just for the fun of it, so they can see who's the better swordsman. And you have to remember, they're both very fast, and this guy can teleport. So at some point, it would almost look like some kind of battle straight out of an anime, because they would start going super fast against each other. Feratu would be teleporting everywhere. They would start like slicing and like hacking and like slicing against each other with the swords at like super speeds. They would destroy everything around them. He would like use his hammer, use his creatures. Inferno would like start using his elemental powers. He would grab like pieces of rock and like just throw it at his face. So a lot of things would go down, and they would also fight in the air since they can both fly. So this would be like really epic if this was like an actual episode, but I'm like explaining it really fast right now. And so they both like push their limits and wait, I need to burp. Yeah, they both push their limits, and at some point they're now just like trying to get the staff as fast as possible so the other one doesn't get it. And Inferno actually gets the staff, but the problem is he doesn't really know any of the secrets that Feratu does, so he doesn't yet have the skills to use the staff. So he basically puts in a few of his cores, elemental cores, in the staff and starts using its power, but he can't really use the staff properly. So he just starts using it and just very sloppily starts like using the elemental powers on Feratu to hold him back. And at some point, he like now it's just a kind of like tug of war where Ferratu is trying to get the staff from Inferno, so he can basically use it. But Inferno also read on the Paraglyphs that he could basically use the staff with all the cores in it to reset the universe. So now he's in a really dangerous situation and he has to make a quick decision because he hits Ferratu in the face so hard with the staff at some point, and the staff is like made of indestructible like material or whatever, or like gold. He hits Ferratu in the face so hard with the staff that he goes unconscious like into a wall for a bit, but like only short amount. So if Ferratu is gonna wake up and he knows like Ferratu is stronger than him, and at some point he's gonna grab a hold of the staff, and then he's gonna get all the cores and basically get the staff, and once he has the staff, it's over, because then he has like all the powers, he knows how to use it, there's no beating him. So now he's got to use quick thinking. He can't use the staff to kill Ferratu, so he has to make a decision. Either keep battling, which will eventually result in Ferratu getting the staff and destroying the universe, or reset the universe, which would be a much better outcome actually. And so you have to remember, Inferno is like a pretty religious person. He trusts bleh, my mouth, wait. He trusts God's plan basically in everything. So he takes the leap of faith and puts the staff in the middle section of the arena with like gold decorations where there's like a slot. So he puts the staff in like a key. And I don't know exactly how the logic would go down, even though he doesn't have all the cores in them, but maybe somehow it would work or something. And he would twist the staff in the slot like a key, and he would basically do the act of resetting the universe. So now Ferratu is like waking up on the ground. He's like trying to grab the staff, but he sees what's going on, so he knows the universe is about to reset. So now he's getting really angry. He's like running at Inferno full speed. But now comes the thing. Inferno is like magically stuck to the staff, and like the staff starts like creating like light emitting ripples in like the ground. And so it's like quickly deconstructing the whole universe. Kind of like those things. Ripples start forming into the ground and like cracking everything up, and light, like white magic light emits from the ripples, and this starts like expanding onto the whole area. And basically, Ferratu quickly tries to grab a hold of the staff to stop this, but it's already kind of too late. So he runs at the staff, tries to like grab it and like punch Inferno off of it. But now he's stuck to the staff as well, and because like his soul isn't pure or whatever, the ripples start forming on him as well. And then maybe I'm thinking he would like start getting deconstructed as well with the ripples. He would be like thrown against the wall, and he would start like cracking up into pieces, and then he would like basically go out screaming and stuff, like really painfully. He would basically like burst open into light and basically die, which would be pretty epic, but it would like be very slow and painful, obviously. And then Inferno is still stuck to the staff, and then it's like the moment of truth where like the whole universe starts to like ripple up into pieces, and then everything starts to get pulled back together, kind of like the opposite of the Big Bang. All the planets get pulled together, and all of this goes back to the gets pulled back all the way until the arena. And then Inferno starts to actually ripple up as well, and it's like this last like sad moment of truth where you just see Inferno alone holding the staff, and he literally just trusts God to the universe. And now kind of like the Big Bang, but opposite happens. So everything gets deconstructed into a big ball of light matter, so kind of like the opposite Big Bang. But Inferno is still alive. He gets put into like a state of limbo. And in space, he basically wakes up and he sees like all the gods of Celestials. So obviously there's God himself, but then there's like elemental gods that kind of specifically rule over all the different elements. So there's like a god of fire, which is the one Inferno gets his fire powers from, for example. And then there's just like literally just God. And he has a final talk, basically. He has like a final talk basically with the gods. This is the first time he's like sees them in person. So he's like floating around in space. He's like looking at the Big Bang from a spectator view. And they basically have a bit of a conversation, and this was basically all just a test to Inferno. This was to kind of test his worth, his trust in God, in like the storyline, kind of like that kind of stuff. And then they basically undo the whole Big Bang thing. This was all just a hoax to test Inferno, to make it all seem real. They undo the whole Big Bang thing. So everything just goes back to normal, but now Feratu is dead. And now like all of the villains are practically like killed off. Like a lot of the damage that has been done throughout Celestials and the people that have died in it gets like restored, and all the people get revived. Except for maybe like a few, just to keep like the plot intact of the story. And then everything would basically go back to normal. And you have to remember, within the Celestial storyline, as soon as Moloch appears, the first season 1 villain, Inferno and the squad have been in the Hero Force for a few years now. And things have been going pretty well, because crime rates are very low, right? And basically... they would do missions all around the world, because crime rate is so low that they only get these very rare occasions where they have to be called in for very serious cases rather than the police. And ever since Moloch appeared, it's kind of like this curse where for the next like 2 years or something, that's when all the villains start appearing, the main villains start appearing, and everything goes everything is a lot more bad around these times. So this is when Celestials would air on screen, basically, when all the villains start emerging. And start causing a lot of chaos around in the world. And basically, after Feratu gets defeated and the whole Big Bang thing gets reversed by the gods, all of this would go away, and they would finally go back to normal after like 2 years of having to deal with all these villains. And we would basically see a nice reunion from Inferno with all his friends, and all the damage would be like solved, and basically happy ending for everyone. Feratu's dead, like everything has been restored, and they can finally just enjoy their lives again in the normal sense. They would still go on missions to fight criminals, but not nearly to this immense scale. And so this is basically where Celestials would end. You'd see a happy ending. Inferno would be there with his friends, all like playing volleyball or something, because they can relax for a bit. They would be like having fun. And I just think it's a pretty interesting ending. I actually have to end the video off now, because I think it's almost an hour long, and that's just way too long. So I hope you liked the video. Let's just take one last good look at the design. Looks absolutely badass. As you can see, clearly an evil version of Inferno. I love it. And I really had fun making the final boss, basically, of Celestials. And I'm not done making videos about Celestials, but I thought it was time, after so many videos, to feature the final villain for once properly. That's why this video is so long. And I don't have anything else to say. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next one. Bye, bitch.